Story 1. I used to frequently abuse my younger brother. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Thanks. In the past, I was toward my younger brother. I was in my early teens at the time, and he was probably around half my age, somewhere between 6 and 7. I struck him quite frequently in the past. When it was just my younger brother and I at home, I had paused my game on the family computer and gone to the restroom. When I returned, my brother was curiously messing around with the computer, and somehow he had let my in-game character die. This infuriated me, and I grabbed his arm, threw him to the ground, and kept kicking him. I remember one particular instance in particular. When it was just the two of us at home, I had paused my game when I grabbed him with all of my strength. I will never forget the look of terror that appeared in his eyes. I was kicking him wherever I could when I heard the front door open and heard my mother. I quickly grabbed his arm again, pulled him up, and told him to shut the fuck up about this while I strengthened my grip. If he doesn't shut the fuck up about this, I'll do him worse the next time. He gave a slight nod and wiped his eyes. This kind of abuse continued until he was in his early teens, despite the fact that it was infrequent. I first disclosed this information to my mother when I was in my mid-20s. I confessed to her that I had a bad habit of physically abusing my brother and that I felt terrible about it. It was a euphemism for abuse, but I lacked the guts to admit to her that I had previously victimized him. She merely remarked, "Really? Because you are the only person he pays attention to. I believe he has a lot of love for you." I was aware that his fear would cause him to listen to what I had to say. When I moved out at age 18, I found that I had a much easier time getting along with my younger brother. I made an effort to be as supportive of him as a brother could be and gave him presents for his birthday and the various seasons. However, I have never expressed my regret to him. Since I can remember, my father was abusive toward me, and I was picked on at school. I am aware that this is just an excuse, but I was abused by my father. Although it was frequent and severe, the domestic abuse was directed almost entirely toward me. This is something that I am now thankful for. However, I wish that I had not done the same thing to my brother. Despite the fact that I have grown physically larger and stronger than my father, I am still afraid of him, and I still wouldn't dare question him. It is impossible for me to conceive of ever being free of this dread, and I am terrified that my brother may feel the same way about me. Today, I had a dream in which my younger brother and I were both children again, and we were having a wonderful time playing together as children normally would. As soon as I opened my eyes, I had the distinct impression that I had been dreaming about a world in which I had never been abusive to my brother, and where he had the impression that he was truly safe when he was with me. When I thought about what I had done to him and the possibility that I had deprived him of his innocence, I started to cry, and then I made the decision that I needed to confess to complete strangers online. My current age is in my late 20s, and he is currently enrolled in a college. From what I can tell, he is doing well these days. He has developed into a tall, musculous, intellectual, and very good-looking gentleman. I have a lot of pride in him. When he called me a few months ago and updated me on how his college life is going, as well as his hopes and dreams for the future, I was overjoyed. Just the fact that he was telling me about himself made my day. Since I moved away from my childhood home more than 10 years ago, this is the first and only time that I have visited. I want to apologize for the way I've treated you, my brother, even though you'll never see this. It is not necessary for you to forgive me for what I have done. However, I ask that you pardon your brother for lacking the courage to apologize. I love you, champ. Story 2. Am I the jerk for buying my daughter a designer item she wanted and flaunting it in front of my niece? In order to give you guys some context, my 40th husband 40M and I have been married for 40 years and we have 2 children together. This pertains to Maria, who is the name of my eldest child 18F. We belong to the upper middle class and enjoy a very comfortable lifestyle, both of which were provided for us by my husband. Having said that, both of us came to the conclusion that we don't want our kids to grow up unaware of what it means to put in a hard day's work. Both of my children have part-time jobs, and if they want something, they have to save up their money before they can buy it. I feel that this will help them value whatever it is that they do purchase more. Recent months have seen Maria's academic performance reach new heights. She just found out that she will be able to attend the university of her dreams to major in computer science, the same field that both her father and I studied. At the moment, she is employed on a part-time basis. She bought her first car when she was 17 years old with the money she had saved from her part-time job, and she is responsible for everything from the insurance to the payments. Because she is extremely self-sufficient and has never asked my husband and me for anything, we decided that it would be nice to do something nice for her. She told me some time ago that she had her eye on this bag and that she intended to put money aside so that she could purchase it. The price of the bag is approximately $2,000 US. Having this information, my husband and I came to the conclusion that it would make a great early graduation present for her. She expressed her appreciation for the bag to the utmost degree. The weekend before last, we celebrated my Mil's birthday with a meal at his home. Maria carried her purse around with her, and none of us gave it a second thought. Additionally present were my Sil and my niece, who is also 18 years old. I was downstairs when all of a sudden I heard a lot of yelling coming from upstairs, so I went to check out what was going on in the upper level. Both of my in-laws stick close to me. Maria can be seen standing just outside the bathroom, looking visibly upset. Maria didn't realize she had locked herself in the bathroom until my niece returned with the bag that had been taken from the spot where we keep our jackets and bags. Maria is told by her Sil to calm down and wait for her niece to emerge from the room. I tell my sister and sister-in-law Laws to tell her child to open the door and hand Maria back her bag. The Sil demurs and doesn't see what the big deal is about it. I call my husband, and after he finds out what's going on, he immediately begins making rude comments about my sister-in-law and grabs something to pick the lock on the door with. Once we've opened the door, my niece continues to insist that she has a right to the bag by claiming that she wants it. My husband asks her twice to hand it over, but she continues to refuse, so he finally resorts to physical force to take it away from her. The Mil begins to lose her cool and yell at them, telling them not to take things away from her daughter and other such nonsense. I tell the woman to knock it off and tell her daughter to behave herself. My daughter was allowed to flaunt her designer bag in front of her daughter's friend, and she accuses me of being a show-off. Because my niece does not have a bag of her own, my Mil sided with my Sil and said that it was inconsiderate of Maria to bring the bag here when she does not have a bag of her own to relate to Maria with. I referred to them all as deranged, and then my husband and I left the room. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law have been in contact with my husband to demand that we apologize, and that if Maria wants to wear expensive stuff around my niece, to make sure that we have one of whatever it is from my niece as well because we are so well off.